VBusiness presents ViTeeWalk Executive Turf. Media partner CNBC TV 18. Blending tradition, skill, and prestige. VBusiness, in partnership with CNBC TV 18, presents the ultimate golfing experience, standing as the pinnacle of the game of golf with industry leaders. A diverse cadre of esteemed industry leaders and passionate golfers will take to the greens, showcasing their talent and mastery while forging powerful synergies between business and sports.
Welcome to an exciting new chapter of the 14th edition of ViTeeWalk. This year, we bring together top corporate minds for a perfect blend of precision, strategy, and camaraderie on the greens. With intense competition, insightful discussions, and thrilling action ahead, there's much to look forward to. Beyond the game, it's a platform where ideas spark, connections grow, and innovation takes center stage. Before we dive in, let's hear from Rorik Kaushal, Executive Vice President of Enterprise Mobility Business, Marketing and Capability, VBusiness. Rorik, so what lies ahead in the 14th edition of ViTeeWalk?
Thank you, Preeti. Lovely to have you here. Vodafone Idea and VBusiness have been partners in transformative journey with large enterprises and MSMEs over the years. ViTeeWalk is the testimony of that foundational relationship that we hold. This is our annual marquee golf event across 3 cities. The idea is to bring industry leaders together over a game of golf and celebrate the partnership on this. The format of the game actually is the Texas Scramble. The format of the game actually works on collaboration and works on each other's strengths in order to have a great day at the game. The idea came to reality 2 years ago. When we got the industry leaders together, I think it was important for us to also share thoughts and ideas and how the leaders are seeing India in shape and facing those upcoming challenges and opportunities. What we do in this 2-episode series is that we basically cover topics which are integral to the Indian industry. 2 topics that we will definitely talk about this year is on cybersecurity and AI. AI, everyone is talking about the buzzword. But our questions will be far more deeper, talking about, is India Inc. ready for AI?
Thank you, Rorik, for setting the tone. So the 14th edition of ViTeeWalk unfolds at the iconic Classic Golf and Country Club, which is also the country's first ever 27-hole signature course, setting new benchmarks in the country's golfing landscape. From here, we make our way to Prestige Golfshire Club in Bengaluru, which is the city's top golfing hotspot. And finally, our last stop will be in Mumbai at the Bombay Presidency Golf Club, which is known for its historic legacy and challenging fairways. And on these golf courses, India's top corporate leaders and bureaucrats will come together not just to compete, but to connect, collaborate, and forge new opportunities. With discussions outside the boardrooms, but amidst challenges and camaraderie on the greens, ViTeeWalk is back this year, bigger, bolder, and more electrifying than ever. As we can see, the course is buzzing with action on the greens. But before we dive more into the 14th edition of ViTeeWalk, let's head to the executive turf for a panel with industry leaders not inside the boardroom, but on the greens to discuss proactive security, the roles of governments and enterprises, and also about the evolving responsibilities of security leaders.
Cybersecurity today is like a high-stakes game of chess. Just when the enterprises think that they have the board covered, the attackers make the next move. With cloud vulnerabilities and evolving threats beyond data, leaks, and outages demanding new-age strategies, enterprises need cyber resilience. and not just reactive measures. And as executives swing on the course, be it business or golf, strategy and camaraderie shape the future of the business. We now have a panel to discuss cyber readiness, the next business imperative that will explore proactive security frameworks and the roles that the government, enterprises, and security providers are supposed to play. We will also discuss regulations, compliance, and the evolving role of executives and thought leaders. So, welcome everyone to ViTeeWalk Executive Turf Season 2. So, I have with me here today Mr. Vinayak Godse, Chief Executive Officer, Data Security Council of India, Mr. Arvind Nevatia, Chief Enterprise Business Officer, VBusiness, Guido Kroc, Vice President and Senior Partner at IBM, and Mr. Alok Shankar, Group GM, CISO at Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation of India. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today. So, Guido, let me start by asking you, how would you say cyber threats have evolved over the period of time, and what are the immediate challenges that we're facing today?
Yeah, without a doubt, the importance of cybersecurity has increased tremendously. Digital transformation and our digital footprint, and that's the attack surfaces that we have expanded tremendously, and therefore we are vulnerable. Right, the people, the companies need to step up their game when it comes to protecting not themselves but also their clients from the cyber threats. I mean, the sophistication of the attacks has increased. The cyber criminals and even nation state attackers have very sophisticated means of attacking, and that is causing a threat, and that is something that companies need to step up to prevent accidents to happen.
Well, definitely there is need for stepping up to meet the sophistication that the cyber criminals are reaching. So, Arvind, that's what I'd like to know from you. Because at Vodafone Idea, what is it that you do to protect your consumers? But also at an enterprise level, what are the kind of solutions you provide?
Look, I think cybersecurity has been important for a telecom service provider at all points of time. But the recent focus on spam and scam by the wider public has really brought this topic to the fore. Like any telco, we have a vast footprint that we have to cover, thousands of endpoints, a lot of network assets. Add to that mix, we have to work with law enforcement agencies, Ministry of Home Affairs. So we, of course, have a very secure and very sophisticated architecture. We are working with leading global partners like IBM, Fortinet, and many others. We use almost 40 plus threat detection technologies at this point of time. We are ISO 27001 certified, and the only telco currently who's also 701 certified, which is about privacy information systems. So we believe at Vodafone Idea that any network quality experience has to be a secure experience. So while the focus and the attention has really flared up in recent times, we have been working in the background on this for many years.
Right. Like you said, there's also a need for regulations around the way you work. So, Mr. Godse, I'd like to know from you, because regulations are something that shape businesses, not only to defend themselves, but also to grow, like Arvind said. What are the key policy interventions that you have noticed that have sort of reshaped the narrative? And also, what are the kind of policy interventions that are needed?
So, if you look at regulation-wide, so one is a sectoral, and we see that momentum happening. RBI certainly led in this, and now we see SEBI, IRDA, and telecom sector definitely had been very forefront of this regulation. And recently there was also draft guideline by telecom sector on cyber security. So because we have come to this level where vulnerability got exposed for a one movement is likely to get exploited, basically, right? And that's why sometimes regulators are worried about, and especially in telecom sector for that matter, if something goes wrong there could have a lot of larger national ramification, and that's true with a lot of critical sector organizations as well. So one is cyber security, but the ramification of that to the national security has also made it a lot of these architectural, national cybersecurity architectural arrangement in the country. So we have almost 5-6 agencies at national level which are regulating cyberspace, and now there is a clarity as well. I mean, recently Government of India brought this clarity between what is the role of MIT, role of DOT, role of MHA, and more importantly the National Cybersecurity Coordinator's Office as well, right? And there is a more important recent development on data protection side. The bill got into Act in 2023, and now draft rules are coming in. So we see a lot of stringent and very specific, very nuanced level of regulations coming on one hand. On the other hand, we see the challenges of volume and velocity and complexity at which the cybersecurity has to be managed.
Right, like we are keenly watching out for the personal data protection bill, but there's also a level of nuance when it comes to cybersecurity when we go into individual sectors. And since we have you here, sir, tell us about how critical infrastructure comes into play in terms of logistics. How do you plan to maintain, and what are the challenges that you sort of inherently face?
You have critical infrastructure. Most of the operating equipment which is there is purpose built. It has very less compute, very less memory. In any cyber security was never thought as a design parameter, as even as a consideration when planning critical infrastructure. So when cyber security or vulnerabilities come into the fore, critical infrastructure emerges as the most vulnerable piece in the whole thing. Given the ramification that it has, bringing down a critical infrastructure that it had, so bringing down the economy itself is the biggest challenge. So cyber security and critical infrastructure is largely being driven by the same set of OEMs. The easiest solution that people say, patch up your infrastructure. I can't patch an infrastructure on the move. Business can come down straight away. So you have to have test beds to be able to evaluate patching before you move it to the critical infrastructure, main functional components, active elements which are there. This is also a very costly affair. Till now, nobody was looking at critical infrastructure. With state getting involved, you have no dearth of resources in terms of availability of that critical infrastructure equipment to play around with, in terms of capability of people to be able to red team the thing and bring down the critical infrastructure. The impact with state involvement on critical infrastructure can be catastrophic. So that is my take on.
Right, I think the point taken here is that we're trying to protect assets at a time when cybersecurity in itself, the threats are evolving so fast and they're quite dynamic. But as we know, India ranks number 2 when it comes to cyber attacks, second to only the United States of America. We get it that big economy attracts big attention from these hackers and the malicious elements. But how do you think will this sheer scale and intensity of these attacks bring down the momentum, the digital momentum that we are into right now as a country with so much focus on digital India and progressing so fast with National Center Excellence doing such good work with everything that is going on? How do you think these elements would affect us?
Yeah, so there is certainly difference between cyber threat and cyber crime, right? And the large part of the challenge is now the footprint that are getting exposed because of digitization that we have been doing for your personal, social, and more important financial transaction can be exploited with AI the way it is coming now, and people are accessing that quite intensely, right? So how do you make sure that you realize all the possibilities, digitization, AI, or in some time all the new technologies coming in, while taking care of the problems of these challenges largely impacting the end consumer and citizens basically, right? So we need definitely different architect for that reason, because if you rely on the end citizen in terms of their security decision making possibility, the volume and velocity and complexity under which these all things are happening, even advanced user, I am saying, they are falling prey to a lot of this kind of designs of the security attacks and threats basically, right? So how can you make security architecture, your operations, your capability, so that it's very not, the security is not visible, it's invisible to end citizen, and while things are taken care of, and even if something goes wrong, how can you create a good victim support system? And there I think Government of India is taking a lot of effort, especially MHA. I am seeing quite a significant architecture, operational effort which we put together to provide that support, one victim support, and more importantly understand all that happening, and then try to create a kind of proactive measures. And last 3-4 months of time, what telecom sector is doing, what MHA is doing, what MIT is doing, you are seeing at least some results out of it basically, right?
And just to add, I think you said that security is like a chess game. I think to add to that, I see it as a cat and mouse game, right? We keep developing more solutions, but then hackers are finding more ways to hack into systems. So as we have a view to how our end users today are becoming more aware and raising those concerns, organizations, and working with government. In my view, I think it's a troika. You have user awareness and user education, which I think is very important. You have, of course, companies, enterprises who have to invest and put some money behind creating the infra behind security. And the third element is, of course, the role of policy, the role of Privacy Act. So when the three come together, I think that's what will ensure that this momentum of digital India growth is not stopped because of cybersecurity concerns, but it's a ally that's a secured growth rather than an uncertain growth.
Right, Arvind. Since we're on that, if you could give us a peek into what are your current engagements when it comes to We India in terms of advancing this to the next gen of cybersecurity.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we of course have a conventional portfolio of products, whether it is managed firewall or DDoS protection. I think at the philosophy of it, what we want to do is that we have probably the most advanced, biggest security architecture SOC services. And we feel that many organizations, especially the mid-size and the small-size organizations, they don't need to invent and invest in that whole architecture from scratch. So as a telco, our fundamental philosophy is how do we transfer our expertise and monetize it to a certain extent. And the second piece is, I also believe that while there is a lot of conversation on the end user, there is this whole element of OT security, operational technology security. I mean, for people to know that there are incidents of 2009 and 10 in Puerto Rico and 2014-15 in Ukraine, where entire cities and countries have come to a halt because of electricity grid takeovers. And we as a country are investing a lot in this digital infrastructure. So how do we create the next layer of AI and ML based predictive solutions? That's where our focus is, so that we are just not reacting to the threat, but we are detecting it at a predictive level. So that's a next-gen SOC service that we will be at VBusiness launching in a couple of months. And we hope that the organizations will be able to see merit and some advancement in it.
Right. But if we had to quickly go around this panel and understand that one thing you think makes us as citizens, as us as business owners and as a part of the executive committees, one thing that makes us ready for next gen of cybersecurity solutions, what do you think, sir, would be in one word? Arvind?
I would say boardroom sponsorship. Boardroom sponsorship, when it happens in an organization, that's when people take it seriously. So that would be my one word for it.
I would say it's trust. I think it's extremely important, because without trust of consumers or companies and corporations, right, you can't grow.
Enforcement. We in India, at least today, are running cybersecurity through advisories. It has to become compliance and auditable compliance.
So my one word is systems thinking, actually, right? With very complex, voluminous, interdependent things, you need to have systems thinking to understand the complexity involved, the interdependence involved, and really put together the mind of multiple dimensions and nuances to make sure that you solve the problem and you play that catch-up game much better than what we do it now.
Right. So clearly the takeaway here is that the future belongs to those who sort of ingrain this in their DNA, make it aware, give the assurances, and also sort of build it proactively than to rather catch up late. Well, so thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today. But you must stay tuned to ViTeeWalk Executive Tough Season 2.
VBusiness presents ViTeeWalk Executive Turf. Media partner CNBC TV 18. VBusiness presents ViTeeWalk Executive Turf. Media partner CNBC TV 18.
Welcome back, viewers, to the 14th edition of ViTeeWalk. Now, before the break, we saw top leaders on the executive turf sharing invaluable insights. The same excitement continues on the golf course. Let's hear what the golfers have to say. Which gives you more stress, market or golf?
I think it's both ways, your golf swing is as good or as bad as, your mood swing, right? And that you can really kind of, do all the day in and night in your business.
What's harder, hitting par or hitting quarterly targets?
It's a very tough one, right? Because they're equally tough, right? But I would say they're more like 50-50, right? So if you try and get there, you get there.
So if golf was a business deal, would you be a shark or a smooth talker?
Golf has, nowadays a lot of passion is there towards the goal. It's a passion game. You have to maintain very well the work and work life. Work life means golf and work also to be maintained.
So what's your strategy, whether you are on golf course or handling your business deals? Is it to drive safe or drive long?
So it's like, first you try to drive long. Okay, if you land up at the right place, then you play aggressive. Same thing happens in life. There's a lot of similarity between golf and life. So I draw a lot of lessons from golf course. I take it home.
From a businessman's point of view, what is more difficult, hitting par on golf course or hitting your quarterly targets?
I think hitting par is difficult.
Okay.
We've got a team to do the business for us.
In bureaucracy and on golf course, what are the similarities?
Bureaucracy is just a profession, and golf game is an amazing experience, and we all find that it is just a manifestation of life. What all we experience in life, there are ups and downs, and you hit a bad shot if you don't concentrate well. Similarly here also, and therefore as they say that golf is a game of meditation, you have to fully you have to immerse yourself in the game, and that's how the game is.
And I want to know your thoughts on ViTeeWalk and how was your experience today?
In one word, I'm completely amazed by the kind of event planning and the structure and the organization, how it has been managed. I've played a lot of such events in the United States, and I can say this is right up there.
So my final question would be, I believe there are a lot of takeaways for both corporate leaders and bureaucrats from golf course. For you, what would that be?
See, what golf teaches you, it teaches you to be humble. It teaches you to identify your limits, and it teaches you that there is always a next where you can do better than what you're doing. Thank you very much to Vodafone and you all for organizing this wonderful event.
Thank you, sir. Pleasure.
Thank you.
The Delhi round unfolded as a perfect blend of excellence and competition. A true testament to the captivating allure of golf. It was an enthralling experience where precision met synergy on the challenging fairways. The event reached its zenith with the recognition of winners whose unwavering determination embodied the essence of the prestigious ViTeeWalk. The 14th edition of ViTeeWalk was more than just a title or a trophy. It was a celebration of resilience, sportsmanship, and unity. It transcended the game, blending precision, camaraderie, and exceptional golfing brilliance, while sparking conversations on the greens that paved the way for the unstoppable momentum.
With that, an exciting day at Delhi in the 14th edition of the ViTeeWalk comes to a close. We saw top industry leaders, golfers, pro golfers, CXOs and all visionaries in action. The same action will continue in Bengaluru and Mumbai as well. We'll see you at the course. Until then, keep swinging.
V-Business presents ViTeeWalk Executive Turf. Media partner CNBC TV 18.